Okay, I'm very let's say happy that you used the particular term regulation in a deregulated market, and that's precisely what we have. That's what's still causing. Some people say that's what's still causing distortions. Now, governments might argue and say, well, it's what is still giving us some stability, but stability at what cost? And maybe this what speaks to the planning that a number of people say should have happened before the announcement was made. A subsidy was gone. So right now, with benefit of hindsight, looking at where we currently are, is government still thinking that maybe the cat has already jumped out of the bag now? Maybe we cannot be crying over spilt milk. But do we now see why it was important to have planned for this?
I mean, we can't say enough that, we can't overemphasize the importance of planning. That's important, but we equally understand that in the environment we find ourselves, we've got to be realistic that, if Mr. President had not removed subsidy at when he did, all of this conversation would probably be different now. It would have been a lot more difficult to remove it. I mean, in all of this, we're all feeling the heat, we're all feeling the impact. I mean, it's called the perverse effect of otherwise good policy. We can't run away from the fact that it is expected that we go through this. However, we take solace from the fact that we've made the right decision. It's going to cost us a bit of fever, a bit of headache, a bit of challenges here and there. We will, but we'll go through it and ensure we make the best out of it. Because either way, it wasn't that we had it all good before this decision was taken. For years. Let's remember that whatever it is we are facing through now are things that Mr. President himself had expressed, some 11, 12 years ago. People would say when he was in the opposition, you learn every day. There are a lot of things that sentiments are logic. We
learn every day, but at what cost? That's a big question. At what cost? When a leader is learning, it usually means that mistakes have been made and sometimes lives have been lost. It's a big cost. You say we'll go through a bit of, but what is currently happening is not a bit. It's a lot of pains. When you look at the front pages this morning, dollar hits 1,900 naira, pound 2,250 naira. This is a reality that a number of people never saw coming, or would never have thought was even possible. I mean, I think worst case scenario, when people were imagining these things, they talked about how dollar could hit 1,000 naira. A number of people thought that was the worst that could happen. Now we're talking 1,900. It's unimaginable. So when one is really wondering if government has a solution, I think I deviate. There's a question I wanted to ask you, which is the fact that, you've been seeing the headline, subsidy is back. Is government going to admit that subsidy indeed is back?
No, let's take it from when Mr. President made the announcement. Apart from what he said at the Eagle Square, when he addressed the nation and he talked about the removal of subsidy when all of those interventions were announced, he did say something that maybe a lot of people didn't take seriously, but of course, he did say something that, the government is monitoring situation and will intervene, when required to. He said this to the nation when he addressed the nation on this. It's, as much as we want these things regulated, we understand the impact it's got on Nigerian citizens. Nobody is immune from the effect of all of this. So it is the responsibility of government at whatever time to ensure that, okay, while we are doing the right thing, we must ensure that, we do not end up, removing the market while we are trying to stabilize the market. If the people who who operate this market can't operate anymore because of the hardship caused by all of this, then it means we have no market to regulate. So it's the responsibility of government to intervene at any time or every time required to, so as to ensure that while we made the right turn, we've taken the right decision. to address the impact that's coming with the right decision, government still needs to ensure that, you know, we're not just pushing all of the impact on the citizen, as a lot of people would like to think. You know, no, it's the gradual thing. The biggest step is actually deciding to move away from one policy that does not entirely integrate us with the global practice. You know, we can't isolate we can't operate in isolation as a nation. So we're going to have to align ourselves with the global standards. While we're doing that, we understand that there are some local challenges that are going to, you know, affect the lives and the livelihood and the welfare and security of the citizens. So it is the government responsibility to intervene in ways required that, okay, we're doing what we need to do. These are the impact that's coming up. We are handling it in such a way that, you know, we're not overly trying to be all, you know, firm, and it's not. It's about the people.